Wet down a young crabgrass plant with plain white vinegar on a hot afternoon, and it will go limp before you finish the row and be brown and crisp by morning. The whole batch costs about $2, but that same spray will kill the good grass right next to it just as dead, and nobody at the lawn store is ever going to tell you that, because there is no money in a jug of vinegar. So I'm going to show you where the old groundskeepers put that spray and the one place they never did. The mix has two things in it: 1 quart of plain white vinegar, the store brand, the cheapest jug on the bottom shelf, 1 teaspoon of plain dish soap, stirred in slowly so it doesn't foam up on you. Pour it in a spray bottle and you're finished. That's the whole recipe. I'm Garry Strickland. What I bring you is old-timer lawn knowledge, the plain and patient methods the old groundskeepers used to keep grass thick on nothing but a mower and a coffee can of seed gathered from the accounts of how those lawns were actually kept and told the way a neighbor tells it over the fence. Simple, cheap, and nothing to sell you but the truth. The grass hasn't changed. The marketing has. So pull up a chair. Now, the version of this recipe you'll find all over the internet has a third ingredient in it, and I want you to leave it out. Salt. A whole cup of table salt in the jug. That's how it usually reads. The vinegar breaks down, give it a few warm days, and it's gone out of that soil. Salt never does. It sits in that ground and waits, and when it rains, it travels with the water right into the flower bed, right down to the roots of the maple drinking out of that same dirt. The extension people at Yukon looked at these homemade mixes and named the part nobody mentions. A recipe like that needs spraying again and again to do anything, and every time you spray it, the salt builds up a little more until nothing will grow on that spot at all. The old-timers salted a road in February. They did not salt the lawn in July. A bare, sour patch where nothing grows for 3 years is no victory over a weed. So it's vinegar and soap. And that's all. And the soap isn't in there for cleaning. It's doing something specific. And once you know what, you'll know which afternoon to walk out there. A crabgrass leaf has a waxy skin on it, the same way a car has wax on the hood. Water hits it and beads up and rolls off, and your spray rolls off with it. The soap breaks the skin on that water, so the spray lies down flat and stays put. Then the acid burns through that wax and pulls the moisture out of the leaf. That's why the weather does half the work here. Spray on a cool, damp, cloudy morning, and you'll get a sulk out of that plant, and not much else. Spray at noon on a hot, still sunny day, and you'll watch it wilt while you're standing there. The extension researchers at Montana State tested exactly that. Acetic acid does its best work hot and sunny, and it does its best work on young plants, and a seedling with 2 to 4 leaves on it is the one that actually dies. So wet the whole plant down until it's dripping off the leaves. A quick misting pass is wasted vinegar. And never spray on a breezy day, because that mist will drift onto whatever you love most in that yard, and it doesn't know the difference. Now, everything I'm showing you today is written out plain in a book called The Old Ways, 50 Forgotten Lawn Secrets from America's Greatest Groundskeepers, because this is exactly the kind of thing the old groundskeepers knew, and hardly a word of it ever got written down. 104 pages of the small, cheap, patient tricks those men used over a lifetime of keeping grass thick, researched, and set down in order before they were gone for good. The soil and the weed control in part 1, the weekly habits in part 2, watering deep and rare, and mowing the way the groundskeepers mowed. It's for the regular homeowner who wants the thickest lawn on the block without that wall of bottles and bags, and without buying the $40 jug again every single spring. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time, there is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. Now, The thing that decides whether that spray kills a weed or just embarrasses it is the size of the plant on the day you walk out there. Vinegar is what they call a contact killer. It burns what it lands on, and that's the end of its reach. It does not travel down inside the plant, and it does not get the root. The Yukon Extension folks don't hedge about it. If the plant is in the ground, vinegar does not reach the root, and a great many plants simply grow back. The University of Maryland put a number on the household strength jug. 5% vinegar will kill an annual weed that's under about 2 weeks old, and beyond that, it won't control most of what's out there. Crabgrass makes that worse because of how it's built. The people at the University of California who write the pest guides spell out why. Crabgrass spreads by seed, but it also roots at the nodes along the stem wherever that stem is lying against the soil. So a big, flat, spread out crabgrass plant the size of a dinner plate isn't anchored in one spot. It's anchored in a dozen. Burn the tops off that, and there's still a crown down in there with moisture in it, and in a week, you've got a new green leaf. Ohio State's County Extension Office lines it up the way a working man would want it. A small annual weed like crabgrass, sprayed while it's little, one treatment of the labeled strong vinegar may well finish it. Let that same plant get big first, and you're going to be out there 2 and 3 times. So the rule isn't about how strong your spray is, it's about how young that plant is when you get to it. 2 to 4 leaves and you win. Dinner plate and you gave it a haircut. And that brings us to the part the bottle labels are careful not to say out loud, which is that this spray cannot tell one plant from another. Vinegar is blind, it burns whatever it touches, weed or grass or petunia or the bottom leaves of your tomato. And crabgrass is where that catches good people out. Crabgrass is grass. It's in the same family as the lawn you're trying to save. There's no chemistry in that spray bottle that can pick one green blade out and leave the other, because to that vinegar, they are the same plant, which is why the old fellas kept that spray for the places where there was nothing to protect. The seam in the driveway, the crack in the sidewalk, the strip along the curb where the mower can't reach anyway, gravel, the fence line, the edge of the mulch bed where you're pulling by hand already, around the mailbox post, all the hard places where a dead spot costs you nothing at all. And it turns out that's where crabgrass shows up first anyway. The University of California pest notes say it plain. Crabgrass turns up first in open ground with no turf on it, along the sidewalks where the soil runs warmer, and around sprinkler heads where the grass got cut a little too close. So the spray and the weed happen to want the same real estate. That's a piece of luck, and it's the whole reason this cheap method earned its keep for as long as anybody's been keeping a lawn. Tell me in the comments what your lawn is fighting right now and what state you're in. I read every single one. Now, there's something else about that crack in the driveway, and it's the part I'd want a neighbor to know if he only remembered one thing from me today. That concrete soaks up sun all day and it holds heat, so the dirt in that seam warms up well ahead of the dirt out in the open yard. The University of California people point out that crabgrass germinates earlier near pavement and buildings for exactly that reason, and that when you see it sprouting there, it's a good sign the main germination period is just about to start everywhere else. Think about what that gives you. That miserable little tuft in the driveway seam isn't only an eyesore, it's a calendar. It's telling you the soil is coming up on 55 degrees and holding there, which is the temperature crabgrass seed waits for. When it pops at the concrete, the lawn is a week or 2 behind it. That was the old-timers' soil thermometer, and it cost them nothing but a pair of eyes. That's the kind of math the catalog stopped doing for you. Now, before you go mixing anything, we need to talk about the 2 vinegars, because they are not the same animal, and one of them will hurt you. The jug in your pantry is 5% acetic acid. That's the one on the grocery shelf, and that's the one in the recipe I gave you. But the stuff sold specifically as a weed killer runs 20% or better. And yes, it works far harder. The Department of Agriculture's researchers found that At 20%, you get 85 to 100% kill on weeds at every stage of growth, which is a real number, and I won't pretend otherwise. Now the honest part, once acetic acid gets above about 11%, it will burn your skin, and it can do permanent damage to your eyes. The registered products at that strength carry the word danger right on the front, and the safety guidance calls for goggles or a face shield, waterproof gloves, long sleeves, and long pants. That is a stronger warning than a lot of the synthetic bottles carry. And that strong vinegar is not $2 a jug either, so the cheap part of this gets expensive in a hurry. Whichever one you use, keep the kids and the dog off that spot until it has dried, and check the label and the current guidance before you put anything down. The jug in your pantry isn't sold as a weed killer and carries no directions for it, and the rules on homemade mixes vary from one state to the next, so your county extension office is the right phone call before you make a habit of it. Which brings me to the question I get asked more than any other on a method like this one. If a $2 jug of vinegar has been sitting in every pantry in America since before your grandmother was born, how come nobody at the store ever mentioned it? And I want to be careful here, because the answer isn't a secret meeting in a back room. It's plainer than that, and honestly, it's worse. Nobody can own vinegar. There's no patent on it, there never will be, and a company can't stop the fellow across the street from making the same thing. Second, there's no repeat sale in it. A jug lasts you a season, and a mowing height lasts you forever, and neither one of those puts anybody's kid through college. Third, getting a product registered and labeled as a weed killer costs real money, so the only things that ever get that label are things somebody can own and sell at a margin. And fourth, the shelf at the front of that store and the glossy page in the catalog are bought and paid for, same as a billboard. So the wall of bottles you're looking at isn't the list of everything that works. It's the list of everything worth advertising. Nobody buried this. It just never had anybody to pay for its advertising, and after 60 or 70 years of that, a thing gets forgotten just as thoroughly as if somebody had buried it on purpose. The old fellas knew things the bottle can't sell you, but I told you at the start, there was one place those men never took that spray bottle, and it's time I made good on it. They never took it out into the open lawn to fight crabgrass, not because they were squeamish, because it doesn't work out there, and they knew what does. You can mop a floor every single weekend of your life, but if nobody shuts the water off upstairs, you're just mopping. The spray is the mop. Here's the water. Crabgrass seed needs light on bare dirt to wake up. That's the whole thing, which means your mower is either handing that seed exactly what it wants or taking it away every single week, all season long. Cut your lawn shorter than about 2.5 inches, and you open the canopy up and let the sun down onto the soil, and that's the invitation. Raise that deck to 3 or 4 inches on a cool season lawn, and the grass shades its own ground, and a great deal of that seed simply never gets the signal. Same mower, same 15 minutes, and a different lawn come August. The watering is the other half of it. Light little sprinkles every evening keep the top inch damp, which is exactly the condition that seed germinates in, and it grows your good grass with a shallow, lazy root system on top of that. The University of California guidance is deep and infrequent, 6 to 8 inches down into the soil, and then leave it alone until it needs you. Deep and rare. The old groundskeepers watered that way on the ball fields long before anybody wrote it down, and there's a reason it works. Then you seed the thin spots, because bare ground is where every bit of this starts. And when you mow crabgrass, knock the mower off clean before you roll it across the good part of the yard, because you are otherwise sowing that weed yourself, row by row. Now let me give you the number that makes all of this worth doing. The University of California pest notes say a single large crabgrass plant can produce over 100,000 seeds, one plant. And those seeds stay alive down in that soil for at least 3 years waiting. So the plant you let go to seed this August isn't this year's problem. It's the next 3 summers already paid for. The frost will kill the plant for you in the fall, my friend. It always does. But it leaves a bare patch behind where that clump used to be, and the bare patch is where next year's crop germinates, so that hole gets seeded before winter, or it works against you. And here's the one that ought to settle the argument for good. Those same pest notes point out that crabgrass will still make seed when it's mowed as short as half an inch. Half an inch. You cannot cut that plant out of your lawn, my friend. The only thing that ever beats it is thick grass standing over the top of it, and thick grass comes from a mower deck set high, a hose run deep and rare, and a coffee can of seed in the thin spots. That's it. That's the whole war. And it costs less than 1 bottle. And that is exactly the kind of thing the old fellas knew. And it's written down plainly in The Old Ways. 50 Forgotten Lawn Secrets from America's Greatest Groundskeepers. From the first thaw in spring to putting the lawn to bed in the fall. Now, go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera and point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Now, if you enjoyed this video, you will enjoy the video right now on screen even more. I can assure you on that. Click it right now, my friend.